What's going on, guys? Your boy Random Guy Kev here, and I'm here with
What?
the fuck. Gotta say your name.
Keep it going. It's
Yeah,
James. Some of these idiots call me Caber. I don't know why, other than it's my online name. But my name is James.
Yes, I'm here with James. If some of you guys on the East Coast, West Coast knows James, he commentates on some of the KWA stuff, SpeakyB stuff, NSL stuff. Owns a field in California as well. Travels a lot as well.
No big deal. I'm very popular with teenage boys.
He's very popular. He is also a professional spectator, and he tends to watch the scene as well. So what we're gonna get into, we're gonna talk about top 5 teams.
We are gonna piss people off.
We were gonna do top 10, but after like 4 or 5, it gets really hard. It gets really hard,
real dicey.
And so we just decided to do top 5, and then we're gonna provide honorable mentions on additional teams that are kind of up there, doing their thing. And this is based off of SpeedQB, CSL, and NSL. NSL being the newest league in this list. There are other leagues out there like SXL and some other ones, but we're not adding them into this yet. I want some of them to develop more before it's like
a lot.
Before we add them into the list. I'm like, all right, now we're comparing all these leagues. So a lot of the stuff that we're going to say is just based on our opinions. So if you get butthurt, that's on you. But we're also going to provide some information on why we chose these teams on our list. For me personally, SpeedQB holds the most weight on this list because SpeedQB has been around the longest. A lot of top tier teams compete in SpeedQB, and a lot of teams travel for SpeedQB, and that's competitively that's the main one. Everybody wants to be in.
Standard.
Yeah, CSL is the secondary one. CSL is still up and coming, but it's establishing itself as another league that people want to play in. A little bit of different rule sets, different things that you can do, but it still holds some weight, especially on the East Coast and southern regions, making its way over to Cali, but still in those specific regions. Kind of. And then NSL being the last one as far as holding the least weight because it's newer. It's established in Europe, been established for 5 years over there, but making its way over to the US, different rule set, different teams, a whole lot of new stuff going on with that. And it's not up there like SpeedQB in the US. But I mean, each league is unique in its own way. I wish they kind of were all efficient in the same way as far as how they ran events. Because, you hear stuff, I hear stuff from different teams. Everybody complains to me about something. And I love when they do complain to me, and it's always anonymous. I don't share names because why? It makes no sense. I want all the blowback. You tell me so I can be like, hey, this is what's happening. In regards to SpeedQB, I'm happy that they're doing the 4v4 limited now. That's a different step. I feel like they have the 5v5 and now they have the 4v4, and the 4v4 feels like it takes more skill to be part of that versus the 5v5 because again, limited class. Yeah, you're limited to what you can use on it, but again, it's 4v4. I wish that they were somewhat more efficient with time, because all I keep hearing every time SpeedQB goes out somewhere is that this is like 18 hours worth of gameplay and I'm hungry. I didn't eat all day. And it's like, I mean, you say you start at 10, but then you're starting at 1 and then you don't get all the games in. I mean, it's when you become a big organization like this, things tend to fall on the wayside. But again, I'm happy that they're doing the 4v4 limited class and the 5v5. I get tired of watching the 5v5 sometimes.
I will caveat that with the last event they did at Tax City was, and mind you, I'm quite a SpeedQB nerd. That was the best game, the best event I've ever seen them run. Mm-hmm. They started on time. Airsofters are always going to drag their feet with chrono and blah, 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 blah. Of course. They started on time. They ended on time. Dare I say they ended a little early. But that last, well, I don't know what changes they made. I did notice they seem to have a lot more support staff from Tac City this time. They had more refs. They had people working the desk. Do that. I cannot give specifically Roy enough praise for that last Tac City event that he ran. That shit was on point.
And people love that. I think players love that piece where event producers are on time. You tell me be here at 10, I'm here at 9:30. It's not starting at 10. It's starting at 11, 12, 13, 1. And it's like, now I'm upset. Now I'm tired. I'm over this. CSL, like the way Keegan runs it, I've seen it from the beginning until now. And I'm like, very efficient.
He's amazing.
He takes feedback. You tell him what's up and he tries his best to fix it. He doesn't look at negative feedback as a bad thing. It's a positive thing for him. And he just enhances it. And what he's doing next season to make players feel like they're more of athletes is to provide you an actual schedule. This is the field you're playing at this month. This is the field you're paying for the year, but you're paying you're scheduled for 2 fields. And if you want to play any other ones, you can. Because you're paid up, essentially. And I think teams like to have an actual schedule and an actual standings to see like where they rank in the league. I wish SpeedQB did that where they had this team is like 20-3 and these are the points that they had. This is like Keegan actually go into the statistics. I think players like that piece. And
Keegan's infrastructure is an amazing infrastructure.
Yeah. I like how he did that because players were just like, hey, can you do this? And it's like, you know what? I'll take the extra time to do it because that's not a 5-second thing to do. That is not a 5-second thing to do. You have to monitor every player. You have to make sure you're marking down points, making sure who grabs flag, make sure you have all that information. And I think even at this one, he gave an award to the MVP player, showed how many flags they captured, things like that. I'm like, bro, that's detailed information. Now NSL being the lower one as far as it's being new in the US, it's still working out its kinks. It definitely still working out their kinks. They do have a bracket system as well, like a ranking system. They do provide
very
point
efficient
system.
One.
Yeah, that one's very efficient. They post everything on their website. They're great with media as well, so you can definitely watch it. And I had my little tidbit and what I said as far as their commentating, which has improved. So if you are a spectator and just want to watch, they have improved that, which is solid. And I'm hoping that next season it improves and they build on their community because they're focused on 2 fields right now, Extreme Airsoft and Sac County. That's where everything is going to happen this season. They're not jumping around to different fields. If you want to play NSL, you got to hit one of those fields, figure it out. And you know how cheap most airsofters are.
I know exactly how.
I mean, they're cheap. So again, we're basing it off these 3 fields. I mean, these 3 leagues.
Formats. Yeah.
So, yeah. So my first one, number 1, top number 1 of 2023, I'm going to say Murder Inc. And that's Murder Inc. as a whole, East Coast, West Coast. I don't care, B team, A team, C team, Murder Inc. as a whole. They came in and played every league. That's work right there. And in most cases, they came in top 3 in most of a lot of the ones that they played in, and placed number 1 in CSL, number 1 in SpeedQB 5v5, number 2 in the 4v4 for SpeedQB. Was it number?
Yes.
Yeah, number.
Yeah, they took the silver in that. Yeah.
Yeah, and they even played in NSL. They didn't play in the championship, but they even played in NSL. So them experiencing everything and talking to those guys and them being open to play whatever else comes out there is like, that's great. You guys, their California team travels. Their West Coast team travel, their East Coast team travel. So it's like, bruh, like, it's like you can get the work from either team. team. So for me personally, number one.
All right, I'm going to agree with you on this one. You and me are definitely kindred spirits on this. Murder Inc. has my gold medal, and they have my heart. I fucking love those guys, man. They're so chill. A lot of guys forget that Murder Inc. as a team has been around for a hot minute. So this isn't some team that formed out of nowhere recently and then just boom, they explode. Like, dudes have been around for years and years and years. They won the Speed QB 5-on-5. They won CSL. They did second at the 4v. That's what really surprised me, is they took first in the 5v5 open class, and then they took second in the limited 4v4, which is way different. Without getting into it, just look up how different that limited class is from the open 5v5. And I mean, I'm not surprised they won CSL, because if you look at the rules line for line, Speed QB and CSL as a format are very similar. So it's not like they really had to adjust like their strategies or their practices. They just did the same thing. So that's what I like, is because they basically they can do the same thing at CSL, take that foundation, I guess, for lack of a better term, apply it to Speed QB and still take fucking first. And then they could take that same foundation that they have in the 5v5 in the 5-player formats for Open and CSL, remove a player, apply their fundamentals, they still get second in a limited class.
Yeah, they're able to adapt. They're able to adapt.
Adaptability.
And a lot of teams aren't able to adapt to the different leagues,
Correct.
formats, and rule sets. And it's like, bro, like, I would love to see different teams being able to, we're going to play this, we're going to try this, we're going to try this. Just jump on everything. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It's just your ability to adapt as a team to do those different things.
If you go back and watch the Speed QB, the NSL, like the first NSL event at Shot Zone, which your boy did commentary for, Murder Inc. was one of the few teams that really didn't play it like Speed QB. They played it, they understood the rules, they took the time to understand the rules, they applied their strategy under that format, and they did very well. It's very, NSL is completely different than Speed QB. It's completely different.
Yeah.
But they still kicked a lot of ass in NSL.
And that's the thing. It's like, it's good that you're able to, learn from one of the top leagues in the country, and then try something new. Just to say, hey, I'm learning it, I'm doing it. If we fail, we fail. If we win, we win, and keep it moving. And they, again, kept attempting it to understand the rules and go from there. But and I think that's pretty solid. Number two, I'm going to say Elite from Tennessee, or they kind of all okay. Elite Airsoft. If you guys, I'm pretty sure you guys have.
I want to say it's Tennessee, yeah.
If you guys have heard of Elite, I feel like they're a newer team, because I didn't really hear about them from last year.
Yeah, that might be newer compared to some of the other teams we're going to talk about.
Yeah. And Elite has been playing everything. They've come in top 3 for a lot of things, even taking the top spot. They played Speed QB. They played NSL. I don't think they played CSL.
I don't know.
I don't think they.
I can't recall.
I don't think they played CSL. No, they haven't played CSL. But yeah, they've played everything else. Yeah, I don't see them on here. They haven't played CSL, but they played everything else, and they're heavy on the Speed QB side. They were playing a lot of the Speed QB stuff, and of course heavy on the NSL stuff. Which again, they were taking top 3. In most cases, top 1 spot. They're never anywhere below that, and they played against fierce competition in Speed QB and also NSL. But again, to me, Speed QB holds the most weight in this, and That's why they got second to me. And I think this team is just going to continue growing. They have an event collaborating with HTK SpeedQB coming up, the Winter Fest tournament, some winter tournament happening at HTK. But Elite as a whole, their team is just very dynamic, a very adaptable team, and they go for it.
My turn.
Yes.
You and me are probably going to have a lot of these teams just in different orders. So for silver medal for me is SYG. Because if we look at, so a lot of things that I base this off of is the Tac City event back in, I think it was September? Yeah. SYG took silver. So Murder Inc. went 4-0. SYG went 4-2. Elite went 2-2. So SYG did beat Elite in them. Here's another hot take. This you can either take this or accept it or not. That's fine. It's a different way to perceive things. I think any player, you take SYG's roster, any of those guys, you take Elite's roster, all of those guys. I think every SYG player can beat any Elite member in a one-on-one.
That's spicy. That's a hot take right there.
You can look at the team as a complete body of work, which is normally in sports what we do. I'm also looking at them from like their individual homies as well. And wow, although SYG did not compete in NSL, and we all know why, that is not to say that members of SYG didn't compete in NSL. Right. Which, if you're up here in Northern California, it's not like that was a secret. They were putting it on their IGs. Fab came up. I believe Young came up.
Fab even played with Elite.
Yes. So I think not only the SYG as a team is better, I think they can also beat, if you want to go 1v1, you take any of them against any Elite guy, I think SYG wins. I can't apply that same thing to Murder Inc. So you can't, I'm not comfortable saying any member of SYG can beat any member of Murder Inc. Because I can think of a couple matchups where not everyone's going to agree on. Yeah, that shit gonna be spicy.
It's gonna be that's gonna be spicy. A spicy matchup. Okay, that's solid for your number 2. So I'm gonna combine my 3 and 4 only because it just makes sense. LTD and SYG. You can't have a top 5 without LTD and SYG. Yes, both teams only play SpeedQB, but their resume. I'm sorry. Whenever you talk about top 5s, you have to talk about these two teams as a whole. They'll compete in SpeedQB, and I hope for 2024 they try other things, win or lose, just to say they've done it. Outside of Cali, and I know both pre-COVID, they were traveling.
I got
playing
some spice.
I got some spice too. Pre-COVID, they were, traveling to other places, playing SpeedQB at other places and winning those. But the whole Airsoft competitive scene has changed in the past 2 years. Before COVID, it changes. The competitive scene changes every year. We get new teams, old teams disappear, new players, old players disappear, and the same thing goes for as a whole. The life expectancy for airsofters is literally 2 years, probably less now. But like, you'll see people hop on the scene, you see teams hop on the scene. I'm excited about this, and then after that, bye-bye. They're gone. You never hear about them again. So for LTD and SYG to stay consistent year after year and have a deep resume that a lot of the current teams don't have. A lot of the current teams may have 1 championship. 1 or 2. And that's kind of it. Some may have 3. but no team like LTD or SYG is as efficient as them as just collecting the championships. But that's specifically Speed QB, but not talking about anything local that they do. But I'm hoping that in the next year or two, LTD, SYG just show up at places. Don't let nobody know. We're gonna show up and see what y'all got. We playing this. We're learning these rules. We're traveling. But again, some of them are older. I like to joke around with the LTD guys.
How dare you, sir?
Your knees are broken.
How dare you?
Got kids.
How
Stop
dare
it.
you?
Stay home. But no, it's all games and stuff. But again, you gotta traveling for airsoft in the United States, expensive as shit. Like catching a flight.
Fuck out of here.
Yeah, when people in Europe say, "Oh no, you should be able to go," bruh, it's not $20 to hop on a train to go, 5 hours.
Come to the Netherlands. It's so nice.
Yeah, no, come on.
I'll buy you dinner.
Stop it. Cali to Jersey sometimes is $700, $800 flight to Tampa. It should be like a $300 flight round trip, but no, it's not. It's never not. So I understand why teams don't travel, and they wish that I wish more. I'm hoping that SpeedQB drops their schedule for next year, so teams are just ready for just preparing. I'm preparing for to show up at this show. If they don't get enough time to prepare and have the dates and have the location, those teams are not going to show up. And I understand it. Money is always the issue when it comes to like traveling to the league thing. But again, LTD, SYG, 3, 4, I don't care what other order you put them in, they're in my top 5 as a whole because the resume, their experience, they both played 5v5, they both played in the 4v4 limited. And again, to me, Speed QB holds more weight than these other leagues. And both teams are going against more competitive teams on the scene, in my opinion. That's my opinion.
Ooh, girl, we want this fucking spice. All right. So 3 and 4. 3 for me is Elite, because they did take 3rd in the Speed QB, and because they've done a lot of hard work and accomplished a lot and beat a lot of dudes in NSL. They have to have competed in CSL at some point.
Nah, they didn't.
We just got to be too stupid to find the results.
Yeah, I think we are, but I don't see them on here.
Elite is my number 3. Number 4 for me is LTD. Now here's where it gets kind of spicy.
Mm-hmm.
How do I want to word this? We're never gonna see the SYG LTD matchup we want to see in that 5v5 open format. We will never ever see that so long as Nationals is at Tac City.
Yeah, and
we want more spice. You want more spice?
Go ahead, throw it in there.
LTD, for those that don't know, and this is an old thing.
Mm-hmm.
LTD has been banned from Tac City since 2019, 18, 19, somewhere in there.
Yeah, somewhere in there. Yep, right before COVID.
However, so that's where there's like a whole fun thing between like TAC versus N1, blah blah blah, right? Mm-hmm. LTD does dominate Jungle Ball. They do that, but Jungle Ball is, in my opinion, more similar to the limited format than to the open format. I actually like Jungle Ball.
I like Jungle Ball too.
That's just a personal thing.
I like Jungle Ball as well, and I would definitely put it on this list if Jungle Ball was more everywhere. Jungle Ball is just at Project N1, and I love Project N1. Jungle Ball is amazing.
Everyone knows I love N1.
So I mean, and I wish that more teams competed in the Jungle Ball because it's different. It's a different thing. You don't get those bunkers. It's like the actual field layout type thing.
Just the rule set alone. I've hosted Speed QB events. I've also hosted Jungle Ball events. I like Jungle Ball more. You can look at the format and all that stuff if you want. I like doing Jungle Ball more because I feel it gives you another way to win other than just flag caps. But they're different. The point thing is now different. Speed QB is, in my opinion, has evolved from what it was.
Mm-hmm.
I like Jungle Ball. The only reason that I put Elite above LTD is because Elite has more consistent data. meaning Elite's done Speed QB. They've done NSL. They've just traveled more, and we can look at Elite on paper and go, all right, achievements versus achievements. That is not to diminish that LTD is pound for pound all time one of the best. Their die sponsorship, the fact that it's still so many of the original members doing their thing, the fact that they're still bringing dudes in. For me, LTD is the pound for pound #1 team ever. Now I'm talking GOAT status. Not right now. We're talking about within the last 12 calendar months.
Yes.
You want to talk pound for pound greatest of all time? LTD. Fucking no, without a doubt. LTD for me. That's my 3 and that's my 4.
Yeah, I mean, I love when LTD. I love when teams talk about LTD because I talk shit about LTD and I always DM Figgy and Soto and tell them.
You want to talk about 2 of the OGest dudes in the game.
And I'm like, oh yeah, you guys suck. You guys don't do anything. You guys have no titles.
Trash.
You have nothing.
Trash.
You guys have nothing under your belt. Like, do better. Like the fuck. Oh, you're winning these little home local tournaments. The fuck. But, and I always reiterate, LTD is the best team to me.
Yeah.
Straight off.
Talking pound for pound.
Straight off their resume.
GOAT status.
Best,
LTD.
yeah. But again, for 2023,
yeah,
they are in a 3-4 spot. 3-4 spot. And I wish for them and SYG to try other leagues. And
you know damn well that's not going to happen.
I know. Because, more competition in SpeedQB, I understand. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever. But I get it. I understand completely. Okay.
If we get the 5v5 open at N1 or now at Vegas, the fucking ranking's going to change for us. That's going to make a difference.
I hope that in the future, moving forward for SpeedQB, that they start doing the ranking. Like they add, how many wins, how many losses.
But if you're in SoCal, you know damn well some teams are not able to compete. Technically, some players aren't able to compete. That didn't stop them from being there. Dude, there was literally players, like homies I knew that got banned that week. And they were like, well, we're just going to ban you. Yeah, it starts effective Monday. Or there was just dudes that I knew have been banned for an extended period of time. I'm just going to say guys that I knew were banned from the field were at TAC. So as long as TAC maintains that ban list, we as fans are never going to really see the matchups that we want to see in certain, because mostly I would assume because of the ban list, TAC is going to keep dudes for their open 5-on-5, because that's basically where all the sex and money is at. Let's be real. That's the big money one right there. But TAC also has more space. They have way more staff, so on and so forth. They have honestly just a better infrastructure. But the limited, that's like that's the N1 status. I can see it doing there. So if we could get the 5v5 at Vegas, again, but you got to remember, the Vegas Evike place isn't a field yet. It's still a store. It's still a new store. So TAC is a pre-existing field/store with a huge infrastructure. Like, how many refs do you see at N1 on an average weekend? Not a whole. It's Gabe. God bless Gabe. And usually like 2 or 3 other dudes. TAC had a lot of guys.
But for their tournaments, they normally have.
They'll usually bring more guys.
They'll normally have a shit ton of. They'll have at least like 7 or 8 refs on the field, and motherfuckers get mad when they get pulled, and you can't shrug hits. I'm sorry. Like if a ref sees it, the ref sees it. You remember, fucking the European team that came over for SpeedQB at Project N1, they were getting pulled and I'm just gonna say what
that up, sir.
They
calling the Airsoft UN right now.
I mean, they got DQ'd because they weren't calling hits. Supposedly that's a thing, like shrugging BBs and over there, and just getting penalized and saying you can stay in. Fuck kind of shit is that? That's dumb. But then people complain about too many refs. Yeah, pick one. Pick one.
But we digress into
Yeah,
our number. What are we on? 5?
5. So after this, it gets really hard.
Real dicey.
It gets really spicy. And it's hard because it's like, damn, where do we go from here? Because there are a lot of good, solid teams that popped up in 2023. So a lot of new teams and some teams that have been around for a while. So number 5, I'm going to go with Marshmallow Hunters because they won the 4v4 limited.
Okay.
And they've been, they played the 5v5 and they played the 4v4. They have, and I don't think they played anything else, but that was it. And they, for them to get the top spot, it's hard. It's not an easy thing, especially in a SpeedQB championship against some solid teams. But for me, that's why they got the number 5 spot.
Yeah, that's not a bad way to go. For me, I'm gonna go with HSA. They did do the 5v5. They took 3rd in the 5v5, right?
Mm-hmm.
I remember HSA's done a lot of work in a lot of ways. HSA just been putting in a lot of work, man, and they've been pretty consistent from what I've seen, unless I've been seeing something different.
Mm-hmm.
I will say I'm gonna skip you, and we're gonna get to the honorable mentions. Honorable mention for me. Oh wait, fuck it. You go with your 5.
That was your
5th.
No, that was my 5th.
Fuck you.
HSA was also played NSL, so they also tried something different.
That was the one I was thinking of. Yeah.
They also tried something like both their squads. Again, a lot of teams have 1, 2, 3 teams, but as a whole, they definitely tried multiple things. Actually, honorable mention for me was HSA because again, they were out there, they were doing things. They had their multiple squads, and a lot of times they don't even get time to practice. They just go out there and figure it out, and that's very impressive to me. Like, hey guys, we're gonna figure it out when we get out there, and they fucking mesh and make that shit happen. The 3 other honorable mentions: Slaughter Gang, Obey, and Tier 6.
I'm not mad at that.
Tier 6, second in CSL, but as a team, I've seen them grow a lot, and they're focusing on expanding as far as doing, more Speed QB and NSL, but I don't quote me on that. But the solid team to watch. Great, entertainment-wise, great. Slaughter Gang definitely been playing everything. Another solid top team. Obey, a Slaughter Gang also travels a lot as well. Mm-hmm. Obey is another team that travels a lot. They're from Tampa. They do a lot of work. They're always between Slaughter Gang and them. Obey, they're always in the top maybe 4 when it comes to events, and it's always cool to watch them when you can watch them.
I'm not mad at that.
Those 4 teams are my honorable mention.
I got 3 honorable mentions. Obviously, what's funny is you picked East Coast teams. No shit, I'm going to pick at least 2 West Coast teams, right? Honorable mention for me is Marshmallow.
Okay.
Because, again, they did take the limited. They have been doing that. They have been putting work from what I've seen in some recent Jungle Ball stuff.
Yep.
Here's something that so far none of us have mentioned. It's a KWA format that they do at N1. It's called Project Mill Speed.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah, I've heard of that.
Dude, they were smacking dudes. They were just beating them around at that format in a very impressive fashion. That's awesome. And I've met the Marshmallow. They've come up here. Marshmallows has come up here for... Here's an OG Marshmallow story. I saw them compete in a format called Syndicate. Syndicate Union.
The Syndicate.
They competed,
I forgot about that league. Yes, that's another one.
They competed at the Syndicate League. This was like I think one of their first or second ones when they were still doing it at a paintball field in Fairfield. I'll be perfectly honest, Marshmallow Hunters did not do that good.
Okay.
And now to view what I've seen from them doing Syndicate now to where they are, holy crap. You're talking night and day. They're so much better. They're so much more organized. They're home fielded at N1, so obviously I'm going to be biased. My second is going to be ATBH. I don't know what
Okay,
the hell that stands for.
Yeah,
I don't know.
they're a solid team. I agree. They're a solid team.
Um,
I've seen some of
I
theirs.
saw them. One of them is my homie Sean. So the guy Sean Does Shit was on there. He's done the you'll notice him from the KWA Fight Night series that's currently going on. They also had at least one of sort of like a sub in during Speed QB. Goodness, what is his name? He's a tacos guy from up here. Sweeney.
Okay.
Little young
yeah,
kid.
Sweeney. I know Sweeney. Yeah.
Little
I've seen
skinny
him play.
kid.
Yep.
That boy lives up near like the damn Oregon border, and he came all the way down. So dude, that team's been putting in a lot of work. Sweeney's been putting in a lot of work. ATVH been doing real good things. And they also beat LTD and SYG in the 4v4. That's not nothing.
Yeah.
Now, granted, you can say that ATBH got 710 points and they got the same point value as LTD. But when you run with the big boys and you can keep up, that ain't no bullshit.
Yeah.
This might be a hot one for some of the East Coast kids. My other honorable mention is East Coast Energy.
Okay. I mean,
because although we can say NSL is new but we can criticize. I don't want to say attack. That's an incorrect phrase. We can criticize and we can pick apart what we perceive the flaws of the NSL format to be, and we can pick apart like, well, these guys started and then they didn't go, and like Murder Inc. Well, Murder Inc. they got first because Murder Inc. Yeah, cool. You look at the teams they went against. They didn't go against punk bitch teams. Like all those dudes going to the championships at NSL, even with let's say you take the bottom 5 out or whatever. You look at the teams that competed at NSL. Those are reputable teams. It's not just a bunch of pickup rentals. Like all those guys are practicing.
Okay.
So for me, it's at least worth an honorable mention to give respect to East Coast Energy for winning the NSL format.
I agree with you on that. Like ECE, definitely watching them as they're like earlier on in the NSL and them not really knowing the format and then going to each one and improving their gameplay against Tacos, SCA, Elite, Obey, and going pound for pound for them as they improved. That definitely was a solid one to watch. Being that NSL's new, NSL's a different format. Everybody is still learning it. I think an honorable mention.
It's an honorable mention.
Yeah,
when you look at, I'll just say, so the two, if you're familiar with the NSL format as much as I am, you know that the two big boys running in that team was, as we mentioned, Tacos and the SCA team. That is all. I know those guys. They live less than 40 minutes from my house. Tacos was obsessing over that. SCA obsessing over that format. That's all they wanted to do.
Yeah.
They devoted their weekends, all their time, energy, and efforts into just the NSL. They didn't get first. East Coast Energy got first. And I've seen both those guys on the field, and those dudes, they didn't compete. Well, all right, so members of CSA competed at Speed QB under the DVS banner. And DVS did 4th. So when you take first place in one of the teams that you beat, at least 3 of those dudes are one of the most reputable teams in a different format. That's no bullshit, man. That's we can, does it deserve a 5th spot or a 4th spot or blah blah. That's you can have that argument until the freaking cows come home. It's definitely worth an honorable mention.
Yeah, no, definitely, like, them getting an honorable mention. I mean, they were in the top 6 teams of NSL. Of course, Elite being 1, SCA being 2, Tacos being 3, and then East Coast being 4th. Of course, you have to go to more events to get a better standing. But, again, for East Coast, again, watching them develop as a team and then proceed to get better and better and better in each match was was like a Cinderella story. It was cool to watch. And yeah, that's kind of it. Do you have any other teams or any other thoughts you want to put into this?
I mean, honestly, once you get past about 4,
Mhm.
the fuck, dude, that water is so murky.
Yeah,
It's
It's
you
hard.
have legitimate arguments, basically, or legitimate talking points to put anyone in from 5 to 10. In order to go from 5, like to try and rank 5 to 10, I don't think anyone is as nerdy as us. There might be a couple guys,
maybe.
but without factoring in like a biased, that'd be kind of. So the only other dude that I could think of that might be a little bit more knowledgeable in the CSL and all the East Coast stuff would be like Caleb. That's the
Okay.
only other guy I can think of. If you're in the NSL side of things, you're on the East Coast, you know who Caleb is.
Mm.
That's
But there's
the only other guy I could think of that
there's
could give
not-
any insight on this.
eh,
But
eh,
it's, I mean, good
it's
luck trying
it's
to
not
figure that out.
it's not a lot of people watching all the leagues.
No.
And it's fun
Just
watching.
degenerates like us.
It's fun watching all the leagues and seeing who plays, who comes up on top, who wins this league but loses in this league. It's like, bro, like, damn, fuck, I know you guys are good, but then it's also understanding that rule sets are different, teams have to adapt, rule sets are different, leagues are different. I hope that certain leagues get better and improve their community and improve their rule set and improve their efficiency. And a lot of teams definitely showed out this year. Hopefully they're still around for next year, because again, a lot of these teams that we could name now, who knows, it'll be around next year, because we always see it in Airsoft where teams pop up, hot shit, disappear in the next year.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping
or half their members are on some other team and then it's a watered down prop.
Yeah, I've seen that enough. So again, for teams that we didn't name, sorry. Maybe next year.
Be sorry.
Yeah, I mean, we
sorry.
we tried our best. But yeah, I mean, that's it. That's it from us. Hope to catch you guys next time, I guess. Bye.
We're not.
Yeah.
Get drunk.
Bye.